It's time to talk sports, it's time for the show. When you hear this song on the radio, it's time to tune in, better act fast. Let me get that Potograph. Potograph, Sports Talk Radio. Starting now.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 186 of Let Me Get That Potograph. As always, my name is Drew, or the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Rappaport. What's up, man?
Oh, just, yeah, it's been a week, man.
Hanging in there?
Hanging in there by a thread. Had an unfortunate soccer accident over the weekend.
You did.
Yeah, broke a thumb, shattered it. Yeah, only like 3 fractures at the base of the thumb.
I was about to say, broken thumb's a little bit of an understatement. That thing's black and blue.
I know, dude. That was, the secondary damage from that one. It's gone down. The swelling's down. The bruising is starting to clear up. But I'm going to tell you, man, this is the 4th finger I've broken in the last year. All playing soccer. And look, I know before you guys get to the whole like, dude, you're not supposed to use your hands. I'm a goalie.
Yeah,
I'm one of 2 players on the field that get to use my hands.
There you go.
It is an occupational hazard.
Might want to switch to striker, but you know,
dude, I can't run. I'm a slow fat guy. You know, when people tell me I need to get in shape, I tell them I am in shape. You know, round is a shape.
It is.
It is. So
it very much is.
You know, it's one of those things, occupational life. But I'm gonna tell you, this like by far, and not even is the worst out of the 4 that I've broken. It's not even because of the pain. The pain's manageable. Like, all right, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm a right-handed guy. It's my right thumb.
Yeah.
You ever try wiping your ass without a thumb? You know, it's not the writing. It's not the writing. Actually, the worst part about it is it's extremely hard to rip packs.
Yeah.
That is the worst part about it. And you know, hopefully they say it's gonna be 4 to 6 weeks before I can get this little thing off. And you know, I'm hoping that I'll be fine, but I'm still going to try to play. I am going to attempt to play, not this weekend, but next weekend. I've got a tournament coming up this weekend, and I've already got like 12 games on the schedule that I have to referee. So yeah, I can still point my arm out in, you know, one direction to do that.
Well, act like all the players in any sport but basketball and fight through the pain.
Dude, I've played through a high ankle sprain in the indoor season. I played through a broken rib in the spring last year.
Well, then you're good. But
I played through the 3 other broken fingers, and I'll eventually play through this one too. But that being said,
yes,
I know you had an unfortunate accident with your foot as well.
Yeah, I had a light fixture fall on the foot, so I got a broken foot now. So we've got a broken foot and a broken thumb here today, but the voices are intact. So.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? You can still wipe your ass perfectly fine.
I can, because I don't wipe my ass with my feet. So
yes. So that being said, this is going to be the first episode on the road to NSCC 23.
Yes.
Just like Panini did the Mosaic Road to the World Cup before they released the Prism World Cup. And frankly, I think they did that knowing that Norway was not going to qualify, and they really just wanted Erling Haaland in the product. And that's it. It's the reason they did the Road to the World Cup for National Treasures, is because imagine a National Treasures without Erling Haaland. But this is going to be the first episode on our road to the National Sports Collectors Convention 2023, which is fortunately in my backyard, which means no hotels for me, no traveling. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, guys, this is the first episode of, like Scott said, the road to NSCC 23. So over the next few weeks, all the way leading up to the National and through the National, we'll have some exclusive interviews, a lot of different guests. We'll throw in a live show before the National, and of course, tons of content during the National. We'll tell all you guys about that here in the future. But we are kicking off Road to NSCC 23 today. A lot of fun stuff on the horizon, guys. You're not going to want to miss out.
And you know what, Drew? We're going to be able to do probably several live shows during the National because this is Chicago. We don't have problems with data service,
right?
For anything here. So everything is fine. It's going to work. There's not going to be any issues.
Absolutely.
Sorry to slam Atlantic City. The show itself was awesome. Just the facility.
The town, the show. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that had nothing to do with the show.
No, I am looking forward to it being in Chicago this year. That's going to be awesome.
I am as well.
One of my favorite venues. I know you like it because it's in your backyard, but it's one of
it is. But they're also expanding. Get this, they're expanding the show compared to how it was last time. So there was an empty hall on the other side of the main level that they are now going to be filling. So this is going to be an absolutely insane show.
No, absolutely. Plus,
the only thing
in my opinion, it's the best city that they host the national in, period.
Absolutely.
There's everything about it's the best.
There's so much to do outside of the show, after hours and things like that, which I think we may dedicate a segment to a little bit later on. The one thing I'm not looking forward to is explaining to my wife why I can't be home every night. During that week. So we're going to be, we'll be fine with that. But anyway, look for all sorts of stuff coming up between now and the national. We're going to be doing, a whole bunch of stories and talking about things that everybody can get excited about. We're probably gonna have some people on that are either going to be that are from the national or that are exhibiting at the national, or we may have some people on that have never been to a national before that are coming to a national, and just to find out what they're looking for, what they want to see, what they But we'll have all that coming up. But we're going to start off today's show with some updates.
Yes.
So we have a lot of stories that we talked about over the last couple of weeks that there are now updates.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We want to get you guys, up to speed as to what happened with some of these things that we talked about. So, Drew, what do you want to start off with? Because we've got a bunch.
The big one we got to talk about is something that we actually mentioned it a couple of shows in a row now. But, of course, Bowman dropped a little while ago, and we talked about the David Adams bounty on the Druw Jones Superfractor Auto, the $250K bounty or possible $1 million bounty, depending on all that fine print that they had, probably like 6 pages of fine print on that. But it hadn't been pulled for a while. We said last week, that Druw Jones is still out there. Well, David Adams gave 30 days for it to be pulled. And on day 28, the Druw Jones Superfractor has officially been pulled.
Yes. And from what we have heard, it looks like the bounty has been at least preliminarily accepted.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that there are lawyers that are working on paperwork and all sorts of things right now, which is kind of delaying things. But since it was pulled within the first 30 days, I believe the person who pulled it is saying, yes, I want the $250,000 now. And let's pray that he makes the Hall of Fame and I'll get $750,000 when that happens. Yep. So I think that was the smartest decision that the guy could have ever made.
Yes.
That's it. Look, there is no way that card, if you were to put it up on, let's say you grade it, let's say you send it to PSA, it comes back at 10. Unfortunately, because there's that $250,000 bounty on it, or even technically $1 million potential, PSA is going to value it at that amount, which means it's going to cost a ridiculous amount of money to grade.
Oh, tons.
But hypothetically speaking, let's say it comes back at 10.
Yeah.
And they were to send it to Golden or Heritage or PWCC. We'll talk about them later. I don't think it would get anywhere remotely close to $250,000.
No way. But I mean, we talked about it when they put the bounty up. I do think they have a buyer for it, a private buyer. Yeah. And if they didn't take that $250K bounty, that private buyer is going to go in there and he's going to end up winning the card anyway on that auction house for much less than $250K. There's no way it goes for more at an auction than that right there. That bounty was like we said, it was, a great advertising and publicity move by David Adams. And there's no other option to do. If you don't take that bounty, you're an absolute fool.
Yeah. I think, look, there's no other way to say it.
No. And I did speak with someone at David Adams. And like you said, this isn't something where you just pull the card, then drive to the office, they hand you a bag of cash. Not how these transactions work. So, things are being done.
Here's the tricky part. If it was just a straight flat $250,000, that's exactly how it would work.
Right. Yes.
You drive there. Now, they're not going to give you a bag of cash. They're going to cut you a check, or they're going to wire transfer or something like that. But the complicating factor, and the reason that, I'm sure that lawyers are working on it and the paperwork's got to be all there, and, insurance policies have to be in place and things like that, is because of that extra $750,000 that's included in it if he makes the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So now all of a sudden we have to get lawyers involved.
Yeah.
We have to get, and like I said, I don't think that David Adams is putting up the remaining $750. I think they bought an insurance policy as part of this deal, and probably paid 20 or 30 grand for it, because we know that it's going to take him at least 3 years to get to the majors, if not a little bit more, because of because again, he's still young. Then he's got to have at a minimum a 10-year career in the majors in order to qualify for the Hall of Fame. That doesn't even guarantee election to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
That just means he's qualified.
Yep.
So then you got to worry about the play. So this is a long-term policy where, they're probably going to pay 20, 30 grand for it. And that insurance company over the next 15 years. Oh, and then you've got 5 years after he retires
just to wait for eligibility.
Yeah. So he could have a 15-year career.
Right.
So now let's say it takes him 3 years to get into the majors, 15-year career. We're looking at 18 years. And then you've got another 5 years after that. So you're sitting at 23 years. An insurance
when
company,
we're in our 60s and we're still doing this show on episode like 1000 something, we'll finally maybe get an update on that.
No, exactly. But from a business standpoint, if an insurance, if somebody has 30 grand now, they can very easily turn that into $750,000 over the course of 23 years.
Yes.
That's just the way that investing works, and things like that. And there's safe investments where you can be able to do that. Yeah. And that's what insurance companies do, and that's how they operate and how they work. So this is a very low risk play for any insurance company that is taking this deal.
Oh, big time, yeah.
But I think it makes it more attractive. I was initially skeptical of David Adams and like why they would offer that and things like that, but really it's a low risk move on their part.
No, 100%. And anyone thinking that David Adams might try and weasel their way out or use some type of fine print or anything, David Adams is the one that actually posted that it was pulled. They are fully on board. So bounty looks like it will be given out. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of content on that. I'm assuming they do actually record this being done. If not, they're crazy. But yes, the Druw Jones Superfractor has been pulled from Bowman. Yep. Don't listen to all the morons saying that it's a product killer, because it's not. But the bounty is off the table.
Yep. Well, I don't think they'll need to record it being done. I mean, they probably will for publicity purposes. They'll probably have one of those giant, $250,000 plus $750 checks. Take a picture with the guy. But the legal paperwork that's going to be done as part of this is enough where it doesn't have to be.
If it was me, I'd hire the nurse from The Office. She's great at giving out checks.
Oh yes, I forgot about that one.
There you go.
All right, so that takes care of Druw Jones. Now let's talk about update number 2, and this one has been my favorite story over the last couple of weeks. Let's talk about Ja Morant.
Ha! Bang, bang.
Yeah. So we know about the second incident. We know about the apology that was written. Now, here's the best part. This is the update.
Written in air quotes.
Turns out he didn't even write the apology.
Oh, God.
Wait, and here's the even better part. It's not like he had, his agent or a manager, a publicist.
Yeah, a PR rep that's trained in writing this stuff.
Yeah, no. He went to ChatGPT.
Oh my God.
No,
you can't make this shit up, bro.
No, you really can't. But that this really does bring the question, because it was well written.
Oh, it was beautifully written.
It was very well written. But this brings things into the question with Chat GPT being able to put out a very well-crafted statement like that, is that going to eliminate the need for PR reps and publicists and all that kind of stuff?
Because I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either, because ChatGPT is not going to give you the strategy aspect behind things. But
the reason I don't think that it would replace stuff for stuff like this, apologies, things like that, is because, look, now we all know most athletes, and everything, when they put out their apologies, they're all very manila, they're all very plain, and for a reason. And that's the strategical aspect that you're talking about. They've got a team that works with them. Look, ChatGPT, if you're using ChatGPT to form an apology, I think that 99% of people with an actual working brain are going to think that that is the most insincere and the biggest bunch of bullshit that they've ever heard. And so I think it does the athletes no good.
No, I would agree with that. But, like I said, ChatGPT may be able to write a great statement. You tell it what you want in it, and it spits it out. It's coherent. It's
amazing what it can do.
I know. I mean, it's absolutely insane, the things that have come out of ChatGPT. Now, we should have known that he didn't write it himself, because let's be honest, all of these highly touted athletes, could be basketball, it could be any other sport.
Yeah,
they typically do just enough from an education standpoint.
Yeah,
to
squeak by and make those millions
to get by and play their year in college, and then they go off and
look. I wrote Chris Johnson's papers in broadcast journalism. I get it.
There you go. Now, I will say there are exceptions to that rule.
Yes, there are.
My buddy Bobby Robbins is an absolutely amazing exception to that rule. Former hockey player, enforcer, the textbook definition of goon. And you would never think that a guy who led the American Hockey League in penalty minutes for 3 years running and fights has the skills to be able to. No, he actually did 4 years at UMass Lowell and has a degree in literature and knows what he's freaking doing. He's coming out.
There's tons of very, very, smart athletes.
No, exactly. Now he's coming out with his memoir pretty soon. So I'm actually been talking to him about coming on to talk about that, because it's a great, it's a great read from the excerpts that I've seen so far, and it's an absolutely amazing story. So, but Ja, oh man, dude, seriously,
I know,
seriously,
I know. He can't do anything right now at all. Like nothing. Like everything he does is a stumbling block, and it really concerns me. That, look, if this was a rookie, I would say, okay, he just put the wrong team around him. He needs to adjust. He needs to tweak everything. Ja's had years in the league. Ja's had years to form. He's had a Grizzlies organization building an entire team around him. The amount of people and the amount of resources that he has had around him and the chances to build that good inner circle are tremendous. And this kid ain't learned shit.
No.
And I'm sorry, like the second, gun thing, look, I've heard all this stuff. He didn't break any laws, blah, blah, blah. Well, he broke contract laws. We're not getting into that. But the point isn't that he's breaking laws. The point is that he's being a fucking moron. But when you're going to the next level of using Chat GPT to formulate your apologies, that just shows me that there's not one person in your inner circle, which is the most important part, I think, outside of actually being on the court. I think the people you surround yourself outside of it have a lot to do with how you are as a professional athlete.
Yeah.
This dude has nobody that is looking out for his best interest.
No, and considering the guy who took the video and posted it up there is his best friend.
Yes, that's my point.
Now, who also received a 1-year ban from Grizzlies home games for getting into a fight with an opposing team.
Oh, the signs are there now that you go back and look at it.
Yeah, the warning signs were there, but it's one of those things. All right, so that's enough of Ja. Can't discuss that anymore. One more update. What do you got?
All right. So this one's going to get a little personal. Sorry about that, guys. But a few weeks ago when the NFL draft happened, we mentioned on the show that something weird was going on, and that was that Panini did not feature any of the top quarterbacks when they were drafted. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, all did not have anything posted by Panini. Now, Panini on draft day always does everything with them. And then we pointed out that Topps had draft day autographs of those players while Panini didn't. Well, the Panini's holding the rookie premiere this week, where everyone knows that's when all the photography is done for basically every shot you're going to see that's not in-game footage. It's when a lot of the cards are signed, things like Origins, the Pen Pals, lots of these first hard signed cards. Lots of them are done at the rookie premiere, at least for the first half of the year. Well, we got some big news that came out of the rookie premiere, and we actually broke this news as it happened over the weekend on our Instagram live feed. Not only is it Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Will Levis, but now also Anthony Richardson. All four quarterbacks were at the premiere, getting their photos taken, getting everything done, but all four not signing cards. So what does that mean? Well, I mean, connect the dots. The announcement's got to come soon.
Well, hold on, before you connect the dots, let's put another dot in there too. All four of these guys were seen at Fanatics' office, sitting around a table talking to Tom Brady.
Yes, there was a meeting that had those four exactly, and they posted that on social. You guys can actually see a little mini video of that dinner. So connecting all those dots, obviously what we were talking about and what we speculated on a few weeks ago when the draft happened is going to happen. It looks like these guys are going to sign exclusives. And with Richardson, it's a little interesting because he was definitely the last one that did it, as he did sign some stuff for Panini prior to this. He signed some Origin cards. There's been some Origins stuff that has shown up, not for sale, but showing that he did sign some. Now, whether those are going to be able to be included in the product or not, I don't know. And these guys are also promoted for draft picks. If you look at like Prism and stuff like that, if you look at the sell sheets, they are promoted for that. So it may be to where
now those are usually sticker autos,
right? And so what I'm saying is it may have been that the exclusive is done after they had signed those, and so we may get a couple of draft picks products and a couple of things like that, possibly Origins. But it does look like for all the big products and the majority of everything out there, I was able to confirm this weekend they are not signing any cards at the rookie premiere.
Now, that's awesome. That's all great.
Yeah.
But that's not the thing about this whole story that pisses me off.
Oh, me neither.
No. What pisses me off is that you broke the story.
Yep.
And somebody else who jumped into the chat as part of this decided to, post the story, post something about it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And took all the credit for breaking the story.
Oh, yeah, no, we had quite a few people, tons of people in the live feed because I promoted it and everything. I confirmed with 4 different sources on this before even going live with it. I wanted to make sure that they weren't signing in secret or anything, and then I contacted people from Panini, people that were outside of it, people that were doing the actual photography, everything, and did a long IG live with it, had a lot of people in there. And 2 people, actually, one person with a pretty large platform, but 2 people actually decided to take that news and run with it themselves. Now, look, I'm perfectly fine with, if news breaks and you're someone that wants to cover hobby news, that's fine. You do it. I mean, you should. This is a big story. Cover it. But I'm a journalist. I have been for a long time. Journalistic integrity means something. Quote your fucking sources.
Yes.
It doesn't make you less of a reporter. It doesn't mean that your news isn't as important, but stop acting and pushing your posts. And that's what pissed me off, is because they pushed it like they were the ones that did this work.
Yeah.
They were the ones that figured this out. No, you sat in my damn chat and talked to me about it and then posted it.
Exactly. Go to any article on any news source, and you will always see if that reporter who wrote it is not the one that, got the news and broke the story, whatever, you will always see a citation.
Well, and you'll hear
giving
it
credit
on our
to the, where they heard it first.
Break the news. How many times do we say, "Hey, this was brought up on," whether it be Hobby News Daily, Sports Card Daily, Sports Card Radio, whoever it is? We attribute sources, guys. Yes. This is not the content creation, and we've been in this game since 2017, longer than 90% of these content creators have even been in the hobby. But this show's been going on since 2017, and we've always attributed every source that we have, if we don't break the story, if we don't do anything, to that person.
Yeah.
But when you see people like this, that, some of them might have a bigger platform than us from other things, that's not necessarily content creation, coming out and trying to make you think that they're breaking this news, it's a slap in the face. And honestly, guys, as content creators, we need to stop this whole competitive nature and this whole not bringing people up part. And we need to start supporting people. If you notice, we do a show called Hobby Hotline that has over 20 hosts, all that have different shows. Hobby News Daily, about 20, 30 different writers. All of us have our own content, but we prop each other up. We attribute the sources. We listen to each other's shows, and it makes our own shows better. But you can attribute your damn sources. Don't go into someone's live feed, sit there, listen to their news, and then try and pawn it off like you're breaking some kind of news because you think you're hot shit. You know who you are. It's fucking pathetic.
We'll leave it at that.
Sorry, it gets on my nerves, man. I mean, if I didn't go to school for this shit, if I didn't have so many jobs in the industry, from beat writer to just everything, it might not matter. I might brush it off. But when you sit in my chat and make comments and have a discussion with me about it, and then the next day try and pawn it off like you created something, fuck off.
Yeah. All right. So earlier in the episode, I teased a little bit.
Yes, you did.
When we were talking about auction houses, I mentioned PWCC.
You did.
And I said, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Well, when will then be now?
There
soon. Soon is, sorry, I got to throw in a Spaceballs reference. I had to. Soon is now.
Yes.
So broke a couple of days ago, and this is big. This is big. Huge. PWCC, we all know they, laid off a bunch of people. They got into some financial trouble due to some loans that they made with vault cards as collateral, and then the market tanking and, typical, money management stuff. Yeah. Well, now they have been bought.
Yes.
Which there's good things and bad things about this. The good thing is, now that they've been purchased, there's no chance they're going bankrupt.
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we mentioned just a few weeks ago on the show when we were talking about them and Collectible that may be something that could happen. But no, Fanatics swooped in, bought PWCC, and is covering all of that debt. They came to the rescue for PWCC.
Exactly. Now we get to the bad part. Is Fanatics slowly building a monopoly?
Yes, they absolutely are.
And when it gets to that point, currently they do not have a monopoly.
No,
because Panini still controls the NFL and NBA licenses. Upper Deck still has the NHL license, and let's be honest, the other licenses are irrelevant. They're small potatoes in the hobby. It doesn't matter. Will the government have to step in and break them up?
If they keep going where they're going, I want to say yes, because I mean, this is becoming a little ridiculous. This is becoming a massively more and more like a monopoly. And I've got a couple other questions on this as well. But this is what Fanatics does.
Yeah.
They go into businesses. They've done this so many other times where they've literally monopolized other things to where I would think, the government would want to step in, or if they were going to. I don't think they are, because I think that, I don't know, Fanatics has this game plan, and we mentioned it in every show alive is mentioned when Fanatics got into the hobby. We all knew that they were going to try and put a massive chokehold on it. We knew they were going to try and own everything, down from distribution to production to everything. And now you're seeing the pieces fall into place. And I mention this all the time. It's always the end of May, beginning of June, leading up to the National, when these announcements are made. I think a lot of it has to do with because you got to get your booths ready, and you don't want to, this stuff has to be planned out, and the National is your big, display of everything. So you've got to get this so you can start doing everything. But yeah, I don't think the booth government's going to step in. I don't think they're going to step in because of the simple fact that this is what Fanatics does. I've seen them do it a ton of times before, and they've never gotten in trouble. Now, if they make a lot of other purchases, possibly, but I think it is a monopoly and turning into one, but I don't think the government is going to step in.
I think it would be hypocritical of them if they don't. Now, they can't yet.
Right.
Because, again, those two licenses are still, or actually the three licenses are still being controlled by, Panini and by Upper Deck. And there's no indication that Upper Deck is going to lose the NHL license.
No.
Although Fanatics is now the uniform producers for the NHL.
Yeah, I can't wait to see if Upper Deck airbrushes the Fanatics logos out of the jersey.
Yeah, but that's another issue.
Yeah.
But it's one more hand into the NHL that they've got. So when that contract expires that Upper Deck has, or is nearing the end, what are they going to do to do that? Now, on the other hand, Fanatics also has deep enough pockets to be able to buy Upper Deck.
Yes, Upper Deck can't be sold though for right now. There's stuff in the contract from the last sale. Upper Deck can't be sold for a couple more years. I don't know what the actual wording is, but they actually can't be sold. So
but I don't think the NHL contract expires for cards.
It doesn't.
Before that time comes anyway.
Yeah.
But we're getting to that point where Fanatics is literally just buying up everything.
They are.
Or they're making moves where they're just putting the nail in the coffin, to try to hold down the competition. And frankly, I think when it gets to that point, I think the government would be hypocritical not to step in and try to break them up because of all of the other monopolies that they have gone in and broken up and forced to separate into different companies. But now, as far as the timing before the National booth creation, I actually don't see that being that big of an issue because all of the companies that Fanatics owns, Topps, PWCC, they're still continuing to operate as those separate brands.
Right. Yeah.
And they're going to have separate booths anyway.
No, they will. Yeah.
So I don't see that. And even if Fanatics were to buy Panini, I still think that you would see separate Topps and Panini booths.
No, I agree. National. You would.
So I don't think that really comes into that part of it really comes into play. But I think they're not done. I can tell you it now. I'm expecting a big announcement at the National.
At the National, huh?
Look, I think this is when it's the biggest. Let's call it a trade show. It's what it is.
Yeah.
And what happens at the in any industry at the biggest industry trade shows for that industry of
big announcements.
You have huge announcements, and we have had a lack the last couple of years. We've had a lack of large announcements following several years of major announcements.
Mm-hmm.
The Topps purchase Fanatics purchase of Topps happened in October.
Yeah.
But I think that was more of a timing issue because Topps was getting ready to sell to somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. They were getting ready to go public.
Yes.
Is what it was. So I think Fanatics was forced to step in and make that purchase then before they went public. So that was a complete fluke compared to all the other ones.
Yeah.
But we've gone a couple of years without a huge industry announcement at the National, and I'm thinking that Fanatics is going to do something that is going to be a story so big that nobody else is going to be able to top it.
I would not doubt it. I think that's, if I was a betting man, I would definitely put money on that 100%. But back to the PWCC thing for a couple minutes. I got a question for you, because we all know PWCC kicked off eBay a little while ago.
Yep.
For a whole bunch of bullshit. And, that's when they started the PWCC auction house, the vault and everything, which now Fanatics,
Well, the vault was in existence long before.
Right. Yeah.
They started,
okay.
Yeah, they were.
All right. Well, you know what I mean. They had they were getting ready to go live with all their with their auctions and everything like that, building their own platform. Now Fanatics has this platform and everything else, but they also have a very, very good relationship with eBay.
Yes.
Do you think we see PWCC possibly start to, because the low end stuff wasn't really working as well as their high end stuff was working? Maybe Fanatics wants to grow that out, and maybe Fanatics feels like they can make the low end part of PWCC's auctions something a lot stronger? Or do you think we quite possibly could see PWCC back on eBay, maybe not with their $100,000 items, but with, some of that lower end stuff?
So they're, the higher end, what they're always referred to as the premier auctions, have been done in-house, even when they were still on eBay for the smaller stuff. So the platform, was there. What, their plan was to move the smaller stuff eventually off of eBay and in-house on their own. But I actually don't think we see them back on eBay. And I think part of the reason that PWCC was an attractive purchase for Fanatics was because they have a functional auction platform.
Right.
What I think we see is the growth of that auction platform.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fanatics has the marketing base and the content to put on that. They are I think they expand beyond cards, which has really been their focus, since launching that. And now they do some other things. There's other collectible items and stuff like that pop up every now and again, but the focus has really been cards. But I think we see Fanatics use that platform to really make moves into the auction house industry. And I think that even though they've got a good relationship with eBay, knowing that the people in the hobby, especially sellers, don't like eBay.
Right.
But let's be honest, where else are you going to go that has the audience
that
that is going to see an item? Look, you got one option, you got eBay. But I think they're going to make a play on the high end and go after, and be able to go after Golden and Heritage and the other auction houses, because they've got the deep pockets and they've got, the Fanatics name behind it. But I think they're going to make an expansion into the lower end, and I think you may even see the PWCC auction site open to individual sellers as opposed to having to do consignment.
Right. No, and that's interesting. I didn't think about that, but that's something I could easily see happening.
Yeah.
Because 100% this move was done twofold. It was done, like you said, 1,000% to go after collectors, which is of course Heritage, Golden, PSA, everything like that. Their parent company. This was 1,000% done to attack them, and then to B, I think, like you said, build out that lower end platform that they wanted for the everyday cards and the everyday collector.
Yeah. And the only thing in reality is the only thing they're really missing to really make a play at going after collectors is a grading company.
Yep.
And we know that there is some ownership stake in CSG.
Crossover with Fanatics.
Yeah. Ownership at Fanatics has a financial interest in CSG, but we've also seen partnerships with Topps and SGC.
Yep.
Now, I don't think SGC is for sale.
No.
But everything is for sale.
I was about to say, Fanatics has a very interesting way of acquiring things that quote unquote aren't for sale.
Right. I mean, let's simplify that a little bit. You have a pretty extensive PC.
Yeah.
Of Eastern Carolina stuff.
I do.
Panther stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're not selling that.
No.
It's not, if somebody would tell you, hey, it's not for sale.
Yeah.
But if somebody came to you with the right amount of money,
it'd be boxed up in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all these places, it's not for sale. It's not for sale. It's not, look, everything is for sale. It's just a matter of coming to the table with the right amount of money.
And the $1 Million Man said it right. Everybody's got a price.
Yeah. And Fanatics has deep enough pockets, I've said this over and over again, to be able to buy anything within the hobby.
Yeah.
The question is, does it make sense?
Right.
That whatever the purchase price is, does it make sense?
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time before they wind up buying one of the grading companies. Maybe it's Beckett. Who knows?
Yeah.
That could be. I doubt it.
Right.
I think they go after one of the others.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing that they're missing to really go after collectors.
Yeah,
because
that's something else that'll really bring it towards a monopoly and bring some government interest in possibly as well.
Right, exactly. And that's, and I think, look, Fanatics ownership of a grading company is really the only thing that, at least in the short term, being, the next 3 to 5 years, could potentially rival PSA.
No, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So I think it's coming.
Yeah. No, I think it's coming too. Hell, they've even said they wanted to have grading it before. I mean, Ruben has said that. So I expect that to come too, big time. So very interesting news coming down the pipeline with Fanatics purchasing PWCC, and really, as we were talking about just a couple of shows ago, really bailing this company out. Like, PWCC was going to be screwed in the next couple of months. And I think Fanatics saw that. Fanatics looked into the infrastructure, liked what they saw, and said, hey, we can do this better if we get some of our team in it. Fanatics swooped in and saved well over $100 million that PWCC was in the hole.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and speaking of getting out of debt, we got bills to pay. We'll be back after this break.
All right.
And we are back. Thanks for putting up with the last couple of minutes of that nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Drew, it is time. We got one final segment for you today, and we're doing it for the second week in a row. Again, after doing it for like a year in a row every week.
Yeah.
Movers and Shakers.
Yes, Movers and Shakers is back yet again. And Scott, I'm going to kick it off this week, man.
All right.
I got something that I was doing some research for Hobby News Daily, and I came across, I was looking through some players and looking at, how their prices had been, just some trends in the hobby and everything. And I came across somebody that absolutely blew my mind, and that immediately made me want to put him on my Movers and Shakers list. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm telling you right now, a man that's cards are on the rise like crazy. The searches for his cards are going crazy. It blows my mind. But Desmond Ridder hype has exploded. His cards are up almost 50% in the last month. His search inquiries on eBay and everything have quadrupled and then some. The dude is getting astronomical hype right now. Now, his cards aren't in, people aren't paying Trevor Lawrence prices and Burrow prices and things like that. His cards are still on the lower side of the spectrum in relation to the top quarterbacks in the league. But right now, Desmond Ridder is one of the hottest names in the hobby, especially for that mid-end area. Now, I'm a Panther fan, and he's a Falcon quarterback, so I got no faith in this fool, and I think it's absolutely nuts. But the hobby world's against me, so I've got to go with it. I've got to go with the hobby world and put my personal bias aside. Desmond Ridder's my mover and shaker, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was actually waiting not for you to do him as a mover and shaker, but I was waiting to see how long it was going to take the hobby to catch up, with the fact that like he's going to be the Falcons starting quarterback next year.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe they were waiting for after the draft to see if the Falcons drafted somebody that, was going to replace him. But, we're far enough out from the draft where this should have happened a while ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe people. They
added Bijan Robinson, who's going to be amazing, but I just didn't see that enough to. I mean, this guy is going for well over prices of quarterbacks in his class and in the class before him. And if you look at the graphs, his cards are hitting all-time highs right now. His search, the amount of people searching for him has skyrocketed. I think there's a lot of people in this hobby right now. I'm not one of them, but I think there's a lot of people in this hobby right now that are sniping up his cards and grabbing them low because they see him as the future of the Falcons. Let's be honest. No more Brady in Tampa. No more Breeze in New Orleans. The NFC South is wide the fuck open. I mean, Bryce Young might be the best quarterback in there. Ridder could end up being the best quarterback in there. But I think a lot of people are watching people go after all these other guys, the Lamar Jacksons, the Burrows, everybody else. And they're kind of sitting back and saying, hold on, I can get this dude for a relatively low possibility with a massive ceiling.
And when was the last time you saw a football card, or a football player have their cards hit all-time highs at the end of May?
Right. That exactly.
It doesn't happen.
Exactly. Especially seeing almost a 50% rise.
Yeah. And it's not that somebody's trying to do a pump and dump with this either.
No.
Because if that were the case, you wouldn't see the searches being as high as they are.
Exactly.
You would see, some of the cards going for, crazy money at auction, but you wouldn't see the searches being that high as well. So, I don't know. Maybe we're going to find out next season, whether the kid's for real or not when he gets some real playing time. But we'll see.
Yeah, so that's my mover and shaker this week. Not someone that I'm buying and not someone that I'm looking at, but definitely someone that a lot of the hobby is.
Yeah, well, let's shift a little bit. We're going to go to baseball for mine.
We're not allowed to shift anymore. No.
That is there you go. That's a good one. I'm rolling with Ronnie Mauricio this week.
All right.
He is minutes away from getting called up to the big leagues, and his stuff is still criminally cheap. He had a peak for a little while, but has come down drastically since that peak, a year and a half ago or so. I'm actually sitting on a lot of his stuff because I did a lot of 2019 Bowman. And it's not like he's going to a small market. Don't get me wrong, he's going to the number 2 team in that market as far as the collectible, as far as the hobby goes. Everybody knows the Yankees are number 1 out of New York, but I think this kid, he's been raking it down in AAA, and I think that he's going to come up. I think he's going to stay up, and I think you're going to see a massive explosion once he hits, and things are going to go nuts. So if you're out, thinking about buying Ronnie Mauricio stuff right now is probably the time because he's still reasonable. But again, I see a massive explosion, coming up, and hopefully what happens to his stuff same explosion that Miguel Amaya, hit when he came up for a couple of games with the Cubs and showed what he can do. He didn't hit the best, but his game management was, well beyond where it should be,
right.
given the amount of time he spent behind the plate. And I'm happy that I went out and, was buying up his stuff the last couple of years, because the values on those have just gone through the roof. Even though he got sent back down, but to AAA, not back to AA.
Right.
But Ronnie Mauricio, I think, is one of those guys. I don't think he's going to get sent back down. I think he's going to come up. I think he's going to kill it. And I think he's going to prove that he belongs on that roster and finish out the rest of the season strong. And I think he may end up being Rookie of the Year candidate if they can get him up soon enough. But It could be, like I said, could be any day now that he pops up. And who knows, by the time you get this edited and we get it, released, it's possible he may have gotten the call up already. If that's the case, well, we're sorry, but we recorded this before that happened. And,
well, hey, I like that. That's a great pick right there. I had ripped, like you, a lot of 2019. He was someone that I've got a lot of, because it never really made sense to move it at the time, because the prices just weren't ever there. But looking at his stats and everything, he is raking it this year. Does look like he's going to get called up. Like you said, he's in an excellent situation when he gets called up, which that's one of the biggest and most important things for a prospect is what are they walking into?
Exactly.
And I see him walking into an incredible position. And let's be honest, doesn't matter if you are 1 or 2 in that New York market, if you're raking, if you're playing, if you prove that you can do the things that they expect you to do, you're going to get that hobby love. And I love that pick. I think that's a wonderful one, and somebody that I know a lot of collectors probably have a lot of and have been waiting for this news. So
no, it's hopefully people are excited. Hopefully it happens, and hopefully I'm right.
Yeah, I hope you're right too, because I got plenty of them as well.
Yeah, and speaking of being right, we are right on time, and I think it's a great time to call it a week.
I agree. Quite a bit covered in today's episode. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Let me get that autograph. Before we go, do want to thank our awesome sponsors. We've got, of course, Card Ladder, Slab Strong, Show Your Slabs, Stand-Up Displays, Denver Card Shows, Treasure Hunters, and our new sponsor that I would like to announce, Zion Cases. Guys, if you haven't used Zion Cases before, the absolute best cases in the hobby. They've also got their amazing Mag Pros that they are dropping a little later on this year. But head on over to zioncases.com for all of that and check out some awesome stuff. We also have a giveaway of one of the personal individual card holders. It's basically a little safe if you have, let's say you got a Brady auto slabbed or something big and you want to protect it when you're carrying it around. We got an awesome giveaway for one of the mini boxes on our Instagram right now. It'll run through about when this episode drops, probably about 4 or 5 more days. Very easy to enter, so make sure you head on over to our Instagram to enter into that. But Scott, let's welcome Zion Cases as our newest sponsor of Let Me Get That Autograph.
And I am so grateful that they are here and finally decided to come on and sponsor the show. Clint Anderson, who owns Zion Cases, has been a friend of mine and also a friend of yours for a long time. So that makes it even better because not only do they have a great product, but they have a great person who developed and created the product and is running the company. Very similar to Corey at Show Your Slabs and Tim at Slab Strong. Great people behind a great product.
Exactly. That's a theme with that's a theme with our sponsors. We like to keep it with people that it's not only an awesome product, but like you said, the people behind it. And Clint, and I've gotten to know a lot of the other people that work for him, work with him, his sister and everything, who does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Amazing, amazing people. And there's nobody that grinds harder when it comes to being at shows all over the country than Clint and Zion Cases. So we're very, very happy to have them as part of the show. So welcome them to the family, everybody, and make sure to check out zioncases.com. Also, guys, we also have Hobby Hotline. I'll actually be returning. I was off last month due to some family stuff and a lot of travel. We'll be on Hobby Hotline this month a couple of times. Make sure to check that out. Even when I'm not on, every single Saturday, 11 a.m. Some amazing stuff coming out there. Also, Hobby News Daily, got a couple articles every month coming up out there. Of course, the Wake and Breaks over on Instagram. Let Her Rip will be returning soon. A lot of big stuff. And like I said, we're kicking off the road to NSCC 23, baby. We have some amazing announcements coming for you guys soon. Awesome special guests. Really cool stuff. Some merch. Hint, hint. And a lot of other really cool stuff. But until next week, guys, you know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits. We'll talk to you then. Peace.